Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the movie Hangout, and let's talk about actor Warwick Davis channeling depressed Luke Skywalker. I know that's a mouthful, and trust me, it's just as crazy as the first time, saying it as the first time I read it, but that is straight out of the mouth of Warwick Davis. That's not me saying it, so I'm going to jump into what he said, why he wants to channel depressed Luke Skywalker. Of all characters, why would you want to do that? And what is the final kind of, what do we get out of that? What was on screen and what has been the outcome of that? Before I jump into that, before I jump into just the craziness of it, if you're going over, hit subscribe, click notification bell, comment and like this video. I want to hear your opinion on Warwick Davis channeling depressed Luke Skywalker. And I also want to hear, who else could he have maybe channeled to give us kind of a better outcome? I want to hear that. I want to read it in the comment section. Okay, so Willow, in my opinion, I think it's a fantastic movie in the late 80s. Came out in 1988. It's directed by Ron Howard. You know, Ron Howard, he kind of gets a bad rap as being kind of like a hacky Hollywood director, but I think he's pretty good. He's done some great films, did Apollo 13. He's done others that are decent. And Willow, I think, stands the test of time. So, of course, you're going to have the main character back almost 30 years later. Actually, it would be 30 years, over 30 years later. And he's changed, 30 years, a character changes. So it's like, the question is, how is the character Willow going to change? It can't be exactly the same, right? Well, there's many ways to change, and this is the final product. So Warwick Davis channeled his Mark Hamill's performance in Willow. Warwick Davis has returned to the role of Willow Ufgood for the Disney Plus show Willow, resuming his role as a sorcerer he first played in the 1988 film of the same name. Now, the actor is revealing some of his inspirations for the character's revival, including drawing inspiration from another of his iconic franchises, Star Wars. Why couldn't it be the original trilogy? Like the original Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, why couldn't it be? But whatever. Davis, who first appeared in the Star Wars universe as Wicket in 1983, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, spoke about channeling Mark Hamill's performance in the, it's hard for me to even read it, 2017 Star Wars The Last Jedi. And that would be the last Star Wars movie that I've seen, in a new interview. Davis eventually incorporated Mark Hamill's portrayal of a more senior Willow into his portrayal of a grizzled and older Luke Skywalker. The one thing that stood out to me was Mark Hamill's return to Luke Skywalker and how he approached it, Davis told The Hollywood Reporter. I thought he was really interesting. That's saying, to say the least, I guess. And it was certainly not the expected approach. Definitely not the expected approach. I mean, you have a Jedi who defeated the Empire not one time, but two times. Defeated, his father. He outlasted his father. Kind of like rescued the soul of Darth Vader, of his father. And then flash forward years later, and all of a sudden the guy is, depressed, and he doesn't look at life with the glass half full, forget even half empty. He's like, I'm just gonna spill the water on the table and smash the glass. I mean, that's basically what the Luke Skywalker was that gave us, not at all what a Jedi would do in any way. And then he burned like these ancient books of the Force. It would have been cool to know what was in them, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It says he simply leaned into his more mature years, which is exactly what I did as Willow. Harrison Ford and the late Carrie Fisher are among the legacy characters who returned to the Star Wars sequel trilogy after decades away from their characters. What could have been, right? What could have been? All of them in the Millennium Falcon together. Like, why couldn't we just get one little scene of that? Davis, on the other hand, cited Hamill's reimagining. I love how people always love to use that. Reimagining of Luke Skywalker as an inspiration for Willow. Davis emphasized that, and despite the passage of time, Hamill was able to create a character that was distinct from the Luke of the original trilogy. He was distinct in a really bad way, in a negative, depressed, just kind of down and out. I mean, he went from being, a superhero to being like the Unabomber living in Montana in a shack. You know what I mean? It's crazy, right? It'd be like Bruce Wayne, who is like a billionaire, multi-billionaire, who has an empire, and then you fast forward to him being old and he's like living under a bridge or something. Like, it's like, why? Like, why would you choose that route? He goes on to say, I'm 52 now. The first time I played the character, I was only 17. So I thought, well, let's not deny the fact that you're 52. Let's use that to make this character more interesting, more grounded, and more well-rounded as well. I have to say, like, Warwick Davis being 17 years old in Willow, that's really impressive. I mean, he was a teenager. He wasn't even an adult yet. And he carried the movie, he did an excellent job. I mean, it's unfortunate he doesn't get to act more, rather than just doing straight up, creature characters, But that's impressive as a 17-year-old. Davis went on to say that the new Willow series, Willow finds himself in a significantly different world than he did in the original film, much like Luke Skywalker does after his attempts to rebuild the Jedi fail. It's not surprising that Davis drew heavily on Star Wars for Willow. The two franchises were both created by George Lucas and Willow executive producers Kathleen Kennedy. Everybody knows how I feel about Kathleen Kennedy. Not good. And some of these other people that played important roles in the Disney era Star Wars. Aside from Davis, Willow features an ensemble cast that includes a bunch of people that I couldn't care less about. And yeah, so that is the article. And here's a picture of Willow, and you can see, a lot of the similarities between the guys. Now, one thing that's good is Warwick Davis didn't do like a, Unabomber beard, which is good. That would have been just absolutely ridiculous. But, kind of the hairstyle, kind of like the dress is kind of similar. And then you see, like, here's a more dramatic photo of Willow. He definitely does lean into his age, which I think is good. There's nothing wrong with that. But kind of like the Luke Skywalker character, he has, he doesn't have a lightsaber, but he has like a staff. It's like a wizard staff, which is kind of cool. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that this was a wise choice by Warwick Davis to lean into a character that the vast majority of people did not like how he ended up, how his story ended? Or do you think it's a bold move? Do you think, this is it's a bold choice by an actor for Warwick Davis to do that, and I respect him for keeping, sticking to his guns? Or is there another character in the original Star Wars that he could have drawn from to have a better outcome? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you want to get future rants, reviews, or his own content, click subscribe. Later.